And then the judge like, I want to hear from you. I want to hear your story from the beginning to end. I want to hear how you grew up. Anyway, I ended up caving in and ended up was like, okay, you got me. Turn myself in. I still didn't tell them who I am. Still didn't. Well, when I turned myself in, they figured out who I was. And they were like, yeah, Mr. Pate, we know you have an escape charge. You've been on the run for a long time. Man, these cops are taking selfies with me. They were taking selfies while I was handcuffed. They were high-fiving each other. Da da da. They're telling my woman because she's sitting there crying. They're like, "Yeah, you might as well get somebody else. He's gonna be in prison for a long time.
What a dick move."
They're like, "He's gonna be in there for years." Da 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 da. They take me to jail. At the jail here, they're explaining what happened. Everybody's looking at me like I'm some star. The intake people are like, "Wow, you were on the run for that long." The girl's like, "How did you?" You know, da da da. She's like, I won't tell nobody. I'm like, I'm not telling. So everybody's like, the nurse comes, you know, they check you, and the nurse is like, I heard you on. So everybody's like I'm the star in jail, pretty much. So I'm sitting in jail. Was here in jail maybe like 3 or 4 months. Ended up hiring a private attorney out here. I had to take care of my charges out here, which were like for getting the fake driver's license, stuff like that. But when I got arrested, though, they interrogated me for about a good, I think it was 3 to 4 days, somewhere downtown in an FBI building. Interrogated me forever because I was even working at the airport in JFK Airport at one point. I was doing stuff that I was not supposed to be doing. So they were trying to figure out how I did what I did. I was interrogated by intelligence officers from couple states, one even here, because he was wondering how I even got the license in the first place.
What about the other country? You said you didn't want to mention the name of the country.
Yeah. So because I plan on having turning my story into a book, stuff like that. So there's a lot more details.
Okay.
As well too, that I want to kind of keep the people, a little hanger.
Okay.
There's a lot of details of some of the stuff I did. So they're asking me all these questions, and the other countries, they actually came down personally and started asking me, how did I even get there? What did I do? They did not believe me at first. They thought maybe I bought all this information, or maybe somebody on the inside helped me out.
They're always concerned that there's somebody on the inside working with you, and not that their system failed.
Yeah, so they didn't want to admit that I was able to outsmart them. They wanted to make sure nobody helped me. So they were like, if you telling them you did it, I'm like, nobody helped me. There's nobody to tell on. I got so frustrated at one point because I don't know if you know about interrogations, but I got so frustrated at one point, I just made up a name. I was like, yeah, Henry helped me. And they started writing down Henry. And I'm like, yeah, Henry works on the 3rd floor, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, this and that. And then they come back, there's no Henry on the 3rd floor.
Right.
They're more mad at me now. And I'm like, well, you guys are pressing me, so I'm just going to give you something. If it's fake or lie or what, I'm telling you, there's nothing. So, yeah, they're interrogating me. I even had Department of DOA or whatever the hell it was even question me on the phone. They questioned me. They were trying to look for my wife to question her, but they couldn't find. Never went to her house. They went to one of the businesses we own. They even called my mentor, the one that helped me out with the mobile homes. They called him as well, too. And he hangs up the phone and calls my wife. He's like, hey, these people, DOA or whatever, is trying to question. He's like, don't talk to them. Don't talk to them. So they called him a couple times. He ended up just keep hanging up. Never got a chance to talk to them, like personally or whatever, but they were trying to get information out of other people.
Right.
So, yeah, they're interrogating me. I gave them just enough. I gave them enough information that, they wouldn't charge me a lot of stuff because I could have got charged with a lot. Thank God I didn't. So they basically were like, we'll let you go ahead and take care of your Florida charges. And then after that, you're going to get deported back, or not deported, but sent back to Colorado or whatever.
Right.
So I take care of my Florida
Extradited.
stuff. Yeah, extradited. So I take care of my Florida stuff, 3.5 months or whatever. Plead guilty to because I'm on camera right there and getting a fake license. I can't beat that.
Right.
So plead guilty to that. Lawyers like, good luck. They're also telling me there's a good chance they might not pick you up. This is from 15 years ago.
Yeah, right.
They might not even.
Yeah, people don't understand that sometimes they'll have a warrant, but if it's not like there are different types of warrants. Some warrants, it's like if you go in the state and get found in that state, now we'll grab you. But we're not going to go fly out there, pick you up, drive you back. Or we're not going to do all that.
Yeah. So I guess there's an extradition because when you waiting to get extradited, you go to court every week here. And the reason why they send you to court every week to see its judges through video is to make sure you're still there because they're only allowed to hold you for a certain length of time. Then they have to let you go.
Right. If the other state doesn't come get you.
Yeah, so I waived my extradition rights, and my lawyer's talking with the extradition officer here in Florida, and he's like, to be honest with you, it might not come get him because it's been so long. I probably wouldn't waste money on getting him because the guy hasn't been doing nothing. He's been living a life.
Yeah, he's been 15 years, and he hasn't committed any additional crimes. Like, he's not a problem.
Yeah, so they had, I think it was 21 days. I don't remember exactly. So I think the 19th day or 18th day, they wake me up early in the morning, 5 o'clock. Hey, yeah, your ride's here. Because at this time, I'm all the cops, they know me, and they're blah, blah, blah. So they're like, yeah, your ride's here. So let you know it's gonna be here in a couple hours, and get dressed, and I'm like, oh, and they're like, we're sorry, man. We're hoping for you to to be cool, man, or whatever. Because they're looking at me like, yeah, some of these people in here deserve being here, but you got your head on straight right now. You go back and live your life. So they pick me up, go back out to Colorado. Now, at this time, my wife is calling every attorney she can think about.
But your wife, by now, you've had this discussion. You've explained to her,
we
right?
explained what we could over the phone, because remember, she didn't know still even until I turned myself in.
Are there newspaper articles? Like, is she reading articles, or is there anything like that?
There's nothing at all. So
it's just from you.
Yeah, just for me. So she didn't know until she spoke with the police and they told him, yeah, this is his real name. He's been going by this and da-da-da. We don't know what else, but this is what his real name is.
Because there are articles.
Yeah, so she didn't know anything about that because you got to know my real name to pull that up.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she didn't even know it until they told her. So when we're in jail, of course, she knows my real name now because, of course, she's putting money in my books and visiting. So she knows now, but she doesn't.
Hey, listen, if she's visiting and putting money on your books, you're good.
Yeah.
You're straight. It's when you tell them and you don't hear from them anymore.
Yeah.
You're like, it's not going to
So,
work.
I'm worried about that. I'm like, oh, great. She's going to divorce me, da-da-da. So, yeah, I don't know. But she stuck by me. She got my lawyer for me in Florida. She went and called every lawyer she could in Colorado. She did everything she could to make sure that I would get out because of, how I'm living today was different than what I was doing before.
Right.
So she was like, he deserves to keep living his life. So we just talked as much as we could. Their phones are recording on jail.
Yeah.
So I couldn't give her too many details. I never could because I couldn't say nothing. I know they're listening to my phone calls, especially after interrogated. I know they are. They even told me, we're going to listen to your phone calls. So there's only certain things I can say. So by this time, I get transported back out to another state. She's calling every lawyer she could. We even called a public defender just to see what they would say. Oh my God. They pick up the phone. He goes, well, I could probably give him a plea deal for 20 to 25 years. So we're like, yeah. All the private attorneys are saying, yeah, we'll probably get him 2 to 4 years prison time. We can probably get him that. So I'm preparing mentally to do 2 to 4 years prison, maybe even 6. Now I get to Colorado. Laws have changed, come to find out. Now you only have to do 33% of your time. And I'm like, oh, great. If I get 4 years, And not only that, the lawyers are saying, we'll get you your time served because you already had time served. You already had prison time. We'll get you that time served on top of that. So you might not even see a DOC. You already have your number. You might just turn around and get right back out on parole or whatever.
Right.
Or probably can't leave the state. You probably have to move to Colorado or whatever.
But you got to pay the private attorney fee.
Yeah, this and that.
What's that? How much is that?
Oh, man. Whew. Well, we paid ours. I think it was like $12,000 or something like that. But
okay.
It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, state's not bad. Like if it's federal, he'd be like, so give us $25,000 and I'll start working against it. And
ours is ours is 12, and then most of them were taking payments, pay half up front and the rest, which wasn't bad. So we ended up getting my attorney. Shout out to my attorney. He was great. He wasn't even from the area we were from or where I was at. He was actually like 3 hours away. He was a big time attorney by the name of Rubenstein. Did great. He basically told my wife, he goes, listen, I'm going to get him probation. And she's like, well, he's like, it's funny you're calling me with this. He's like, I just had a case with a guy who was on the run for 8 years, pretty much did similar same thing. He left the halfway house, got an escape charge, moved to Florida, owns a company now, turned himself in. I got him probation. I'm going to do the same for your husband because he's been on the run even longer than him and been doing even better. Went to college and graduated and everything else. You know.
Yeah, but the other guy turned himself in. That's a big deal.
Yes.
Like that's a huge game changer. But you have double the time.
Yeah.
Never committed a crime.
Never even got a speeding ticket. Never done any of that stuff. Never. You know, only time I came face to face with the law was that DJ event I told you about. That was it.
Right.
So, he tells her I'm gonna get probation, and she's like, "All right, we're gonna go with you then." You know. So he comes to visit me in jail, and he gives me this speech, and he has this vibe about him, like that. I just like you automatically want to listen to what he's saying or whatever. And I'm like, man, I should have had you for my very first charge for the plead guilty to false admission of pawn shop or whatever. So he's telling me, yeah, you remind me of this movie. There was a movie a long time ago about this kid that stole something and he got away from the detective. It was like some old movie back in the 60s or 50s. And he's like, and the kid got away from the detective and the kid got older and the detective was still on his trail because the detective was so mad that he could not get this kid. He goes, this is what you remind me of. Now, just because you stole something as a kid, does that mean you should pay for it as an adult now? And I'm like,
the hurricane?
I don't remember. And I'm thinking, I'm looking at him like, I'm believing him like, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't have to pay. You're right. So yeah, we end up going to court. He ends up getting that. The biggest thing was that escape. Ends up getting that escape charge dropped down to a misdemeanor.
It's not an escape.
Yeah,
it's
not.
absconding. You know, escape is from a secured facility where you have to go. You have to break through a fence. You have to jump a fence. You have to crawl through barbed wire. That's a real escape. You walked off.
Yes. So he gets it dropped down to a misdemeanor. Time served. He not only that, but they also found out that the counselor who told me that I could go,
right,
but then changed their mind, got fired for stealing money from the halfway house. He investigated into that and found that out too. So there was a lot of corruption that was going on in this halfway house or whatever. And I'm not saying it's their fault, but you know, there's a lot of corruption that was going on, and that worked in my favor too. So because of all of that, and then the DA was like, yeah, we'll drop it. He didn't go just to go off. He went to go try and, you know, see his son, So they dropped it down. Then once they dropped it down, the agreement was for an open sentence to the judge up to 4 years. So it could be probation. It could have been a halfway house. It can even be prison time. But the escape charge was dropped. That was the biggest thing. So I'm thinking to myself, once again, I'm already prepared to do 4 years. I'm like, I can do 4 years or whatever. You know, I'm not going to do it anyway. I'm going to do
you're going to do
if that and get right back out. So
a year and change.
Yeah, and I'm already been in jail 7 months already.
Yeah.
So I'm like 33% of I'm going
You're probably going straight to a halfway house practically.
Yeah. So, you know, I get interviewed for halfway house, interview probation while I'm in there, you know, things like that. The weirdest thing, why I'm in jail, they have a psychiatric nurse, you know, and they see you all the time out there. He comes and sees me. He goes, I remember you. He goes, you're the one I told you, or you're the one that was in here when your son died a long time ago. Wow,
that long? He remembered
that long he's been there, and he remembered because I was the only one, I guess, that
had happened to.
That it happened to, and he had to say something like that. He's like, usually it's a parent, but not a kid, or whatever. Yeah. So he's like, my son was only 3 years old. He's like, I remember, because he said he remembered seeing it was on the news and everything when the car accident. He goes, I remember you, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, oh man. He's like, well, I hope the best for you, man. So all the police in Colorado, they're treating me like a movie star. Like, I can't believe you've been gone from us for so long. You know, they're treating me really good. So I like really had no complaints of being over there. They treat me really good actually. But end up going to court for the open charge or open case, you know, to see what the judge says. The judge I had was he was really understanding. So he comes out and he goes, just to let you know, I got about 40 reference letters on your name on your behalf. That was in the back reading. I read up on your case. He goes, your case is so old that at that time, your case was still on paper. We lost some of the stuff because it didn't get transferred in the computer. It's so old. He goes, you're just like a movie of what you did. And he goes, I've heard you turned your life around. And he goes, I want to hear, you know, your side of the story, but let me hear from the DA stuff, like everything first. So, you know, the DA's pushing for me to do 4 years. Just scared if I get probation, I'm not going to see me for another 15 years. You know, my lawyer turns into a bulldog, and he's like, you know, he just basically eats the DA up. And I'm like, yeah, get him. And then the judge like, I want to hear from you. I want to hear your story from the beginning to end. I want to hear how you grew up. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I basically told him everything from beginning and how I grew up. And he goes, sounds like to me, you grew up as a good kid and you just got to a point in life where you didn't know what to do and you rebelled. And then after you rebel, it's, you know, they say you don't grow up till you're about 28, 29 for a man. And he goes, it sounds like when you turn 29, 30 years old is when you grew up and you decide you need to take responsibility and do things, you know.
Yeah, by then it's too late. You've created a complete fucking chaos for yourself.
Yeah. And he goes, do you love your life now? I go, I love my life. And he goes, do you regret anything? I go, I regret everything I did, you know, but then again, I can't regret too much because I wouldn't be where I am now. I was like, I think I learned from all that. It made me who I am right now, you know? And then he goes, I like that answer. And he goes, tell you what, he goes, I don't think a halfway house is going to work for you. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm about to go to prison, probably 2 years or whatever. And he goes, I don't want to send you to prison either. He goes, I want to save the Department of Corrections for people that need to be corrected. He goes, you already corrected yourself. He goes, I'm just going to give you 2 years probation. You promised me you do this, serve your probation time, do not get in trouble, gave me community service hours, pay your restitution, you know, and I'm going to demand your probation be transferred back to your state where you came from, you know, ASAP. And he goes, but I'm not going to let you go today. He goes, I'm going to make you serve 60 more days in county jail just because I want you to sit and think how it could have ended up and your life could have ended up. I want you to get time to think about that. And I was happy. I was like, I'll take those 60 days. I went back I started working in the kitchen. You work in the kitchen and knocks time off. Now, this is also right in the middle of the pandemic, right in the middle of COVID. So they're releasing people.
Yeah.
So because of COVID, I got released early as well, too. So I only did, I think, another like 28 days and then got released early.
Plus, working in the kitchen, you get to move around a lot.
Yep.
The day fly. People don't realize how quickly working makes the day fly.
Working there like 12 hours a day or something like that. 13
Sitting in a
hours.
cell, it's like the fucking clock is. It's like you think you're sitting in there for 12 hours or 20. It's double time.
Oh yeah,
it's the worst.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I was ate good in the kitchen, you know, and basically came back to Florida and had to start some things over with again, but. You know, I looked at it as hey, I'd rather...
What year was that? Sorry.
Oh, this is not long ago. 2000, because actually my stuff is going to be up in April. So, like I said, this was... When the pandemic hit, was that 2019? I think it was? Right when COVID hit?
2020.
Was it 2020?
March of
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah, so that's right when... Yeah, because my court
March
date was
of 2020.
April.
Okay, cool.
So it was right when I was in there right when COVID hit, actually. So it like hit at a perfect time for me because I got released early and they didn't really want to imprison people that they didn't think was going to be violent and sit back on the streets and things like that. So it all kind of played into my factor. You know, I was like, thank God for COVID, you know. Got sent home and early and started over and now trying to get everything straight and turn this into a story.
Yeah.
As you see, so.
And right now you're doing TikTok. You just started TikTok.
Yeah, so I started TikTok.
Did you start a YouTube channel?
Actually, I have it up, but I didn't put anything on it. So I had a video for my YouTube channel, which is Fugitive TV. I was gonna put Fugitive TV.
Nice.
So I was gonna put the video up, but I remember talking to you, and you said make sure your video is over 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
Mine was at like 6 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So I'm actually adding more content onto it, so I can actually get that first episode uploaded next week. Is gonna be episodes about my what I've done in my life, pretty much what I discussed today.
Yeah,
maybe get into a little more detail. My TikTok is Fugitive TV as well, and what I'm doing on my TikTok is I'm just giving little snippets of basically everything I've been through or what I've done. I'm even gonna let people, because TikTok you can get more. I would say you can get more interactive with people. So I'm even let some people, even like leave a reply, ask a question, and then I'll come back, with an answer to your question. How'd you do this or something like that, whatever. If it's something I can answer, I'm going to let you know, whatever, things like that. So, but yeah, I started that maybe about 2 weeks ago, actually, and it's actually, there's not a lot of followers on there. It's about 170, but those 170 came within 2 weeks, so I'm averaging about 15 followers a day right now. So it's picking up pretty good.
Well, yeah, definitely. Like we can put the links for the TikTok, right? You can put it for the TikTok and for the YouTube channel in the description. Okay. So on the YouTube, and you can answer questions in comment section. Like I answer questions all the time. That's right.
Oh, and my Instagram channel, I changed that to Fugitive TV too. So I'm having it all
Yeah.
So I changed it all to Fugitive TV. Easy to remember, Fugitive TV.
Okay. What are you going to do on the YouTube? Are you going to interview people? Or are you just going to keep doing your story? At some point, your story
is going to end.
It's going to end.
So yeah, eventually after I'm done with my story, I do want to interview people. I do want to start interviewing people. I do want to start talking about even,
How do you find people that were like fugitives though?
Oh, that's the hard part.
Like you could interview me.
Yeah.
You know, I did it 3 years.
Maybe find a secret location and put a mask on them or something like that.
No, not. They don't have to be on. They have to have been on the run. Like they don't currently have to be on the run.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
You could scour the newspapers and try and find.
Think about it. What's the channel? Vice TV.
Yeah.
Vice TV, or they have gangsters. They're on like doing drug deals with them and everything. Like, how are they doing that?
Yeah,
I don't want to be in the middle of a drug deal, but I'm like.
It's it's first of all the YouTube thing. First of all, you got to get monetized. Like that takes that's 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers.
Okay.
But and even then when you have to get people think like you're making that video's got depends on what your RPM is or they call it a CPM also.
Gotcha.
Like YouTube calls it an RPM, but depends on what they're charging you for your RPM. Because like I'll have a video that has like 1,000. It'll have like 100,000 views. Like I have like one video that's got over 100,000 views. Like, but that video total made about $1,000.
Yeah.
Well, about $1,200. So most of the videos that make like 5,000 have to get 5 or 10,000 views.
Yeah.
Only make maybe $50 or $100. Like they don't make a lot of money. So and so you've got to. It just takes a long time. So you got to figure out what your niche is and do it in a way that it doesn't become a full-time job that doesn't pay you.
Yeah.
So you kind of gotta it's a bitch, bro.
Oh man.
It takes forever.
Well, one thing I forgot to tell you actually. So that very first charge I had, false information to a pawn shop. The private attorney, the one I just had, he looked into that because he wanted to go all the way from the beginning. Come to find out, I didn't even have to plead guilty to that. He goes, it was never false information to a pawn shop. You put that you literally own a TV for a couple weeks and that a friend gave it to you.
Right.
And they never showed you that. You didn't have to plead guilty. You never stole the TV or any of that. You could have took that to court and the judge probably would have thrown it out. And you would have never had a felony to begin with. You could have.
Oh yeah, if you had a decent attorney, he would have got all that thrown out.
Yeah.
If you had a decent attorney, I never lied about anything. It was I told you everything I knew about the TV. I didn't know it was stolen. Like you can't charge me for a TV that he gave me that I didn't know. Now if you could prove I knew it, now I messed up because now I'm trying to pawn stolen information, stolen property.
You got it.
But you weren't guilty of any of those charges.
Nothing. And I've pled
and that
guilty.
Spiraled.
That spiraled everything. Started the whole thing. That one thing. So if you're still out there, that started everything, man.
Well, so what else? Anything else? What else are you doing now? Or
right now, actually, like I said, I still have the couple businesses I'm doing now with the mobile homes. I'm getting back into that actually,
right?
Because we sold the mobile homes to pay for my attorney.
Yeah.
So we're getting back into that. I'm also starting a group up to where we're actually going to develop a metaverse game as well. So I've been heavy into researching metaverse and even was buying some property in the metaverse because you can make a lot of money off crypto and things like that.
Right.
So I have a crew and we're getting together. We just got to get a couple more coders and we want to start our own metaverse page, our own metaverse game. Instead of participating and giving somebody else some money, why don't we start our own?
Right.
And so I got a few things actually, that I'm trying to do because when I leave this earth, I want to leave an empire. It's pretty much what I want to do. So
right.
I want to have my kids straight, and I don't want them to go through anything I went through and no MCI jobs and it gets bankrupt. I want them to have their own stuff, and I don't want them to pound any TVs or anything like that.
Where's the guy? Remember I told you about the guy that I've had a couple of guys contact me, and did I send you the information of the guy?
You did. You with the mobile home?
Yeah, with the mobile home. The guy actually
yeah.
contacted me. He bought a couple of mobile homes and turned them into rooming houses.
Yes, you did tell me that.
Yeah,
actually.
in Jacksonville.
Yeah, you did send that.
His looked pretty good, right?
Yeah, it did. I took a look at that, and that was actually a pretty good concept because I was telling you that
Well, I did a whole video on not on mobile homes, but on renting out rooms. I got a whole video on it. Like I talk about changing the locks, the whole thing. Listen,
they call it house hacking, don't they? Isn't that house hacking?
No, I mean they call lots of things hacking. Like that's just a term. That's just they'll say like real estate hacking. It's just whatever. It's just like it's like a secret. It's a secret recipe.
Yeah.
But I'm telling right now, like I think that's a great idea. That's a great idea.
Yeah, rent out the rooms, 2 people per room. But I was telling you before, actually, too, we were even thinking about doing it for housing the homeless, because if you have rooms for the homeless, you get paid from the state. The state pays you, you know,
Right.
as well too, and you get a guaranteed check every month
Plus the
from that.
veterans.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
the veterans thing too.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
all right. Well, we're gonna wrap it up, right?
Yeah.
Are we good? So this one. All right. So, hey, I appreciate it. If you like the video, do me. Oh, I appreciate it. I appreciate you. I appreciate you watching. So if you like the video, do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell so you get notifications of videos like this. Also, leave a comment in the comments section and share the video. So I appreciate it, and thank you very much. And yeah, I think that's it, right? That's it. See you.